please call the roll.
Gary Stubblefield.
Here.
Mark Savage. Rick Glenn.
Here.
Mike Burns.
Here.
Bob McAfee.
Here.
Jim Dozy.
Here.
Donna Allen.
Here.
Roger Spencer.
Here. Will you all please stand and join the invocation? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray? Gracious God, as we come to you again this evening for another session of the Carl Junction Board of Aldermen, we ask that you would invest in this board your strength and wisdom to fortify us and to guide us so that we may enhance the prosperity of our community and improve the quality of life for those you have entrusted to us to serve. It's in your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Next is the approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or corrections to the agenda, Roger?
Yes, sir. We need to amend 4A from 10:19 to 11:2. Somebody messed up there. Also on 13A, we were striking.
Strike 13A. All right. Do I hear a motion to amend the agenda?
I second that motion.
We don't have one
I moved to.
yet. Who did?
Roger.
You did? Rick? Oh, you moved it?
I will move that we.
Okay. Motion by Rick Glenn.
Second.
Second by Donna Allen to amend the agenda as presented by Roger Spencer. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Now, are there any further comments or corrections to the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
There.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Roger Spencer to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. Amended agenda is approved. Next is approval of the consent agenda, which is approval of the,
Disbursements.
consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, which is 11/2/21, and approval of disbursements. Any comments or corrections to the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Rick Glenn to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with none absent. The consent agenda is approved. Anyone wishing to speak at public forum? Next on the list, public forum. Last call for public forum. Very well. We'll move right along then to Mr. Kelly Beats from Myrma. Would like to speak about a grant we received.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'll give you the, since I recognize a few new faces here, I think I'll give you the full spiel here. One is a program from Missouri Intergovernmental Risk Management Association. And we ensure cities and municipalities throughout the state of Missouri. We're been members since, I think, the 80s, long time. And one thing we noticed throughout the years, the frequency or severity of certain claims, either liability or work comp. And that's why I'm here tonight. Participated in the risk grant program. One of the areas that we had a lot of problems years ago, I think we found that out here, was sewer backups. And one of the items on the risk grant program you can get to help prevent those problems or identify problem areas before they are a claim is a sewer camera. And I think you guys filled out the appropriate paperwork and got everything in line, and we're approved for a sewer camera, and our portion we're giving back to the city is $6,000.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. Thank Myrma for us when you get back.
And sometimes I enjoy working with Carl Jackson. I love coming down here and working with everyone. I've been pretty busy today. I usually come and hang out in the usual facilities and work out. I really enjoy working with the city of Carl Junction. You guys do a great job on the evaluation. You've been in the 90s for, well over a decade. So thank you for all your hard work, and thanks for working with me.
Thank you. You bet. Next is P&Z cases. First case is 2108, rezoning of 54.44 acres south of Ivy Road, Irene Schultz. This will be a public hearing. I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak in favor of this rezoning?
Planning and zoning met on this, and they are recommending approval.
Very well.
Hi, Kerry Mitchell with Schubert Mitchell.
Yes, sir.
We have a pretty sunny brook here in Carl Junction. We have with us our engineering staff from Anderson Engineering, who's done the work on, or will do the work on developing this neighborhood. They'd like to come forward and answer any questions you guys might have.
All right. Any questions? Oh, where, Mike, sorry.
This says we're rezoning to R4, and I guess I'm just not real familiar with the different differentiations on the zoning. I don't know, Steve, or let's there's R1, R2, and R4.
R4 is it's called a planned unit development. That gives developers some options as far as types of housing. It gives them some options to apply for some different variances that they may feel that they're needed. And this can go anywhere from, if you want to think about tiny homes, all the way up to multifamily apartment buildings, that type of thing. It also allows for some zero lot line commercial development, which would be like strip malls and that type of thing. So it has a wide range of things that are available to it.
In our case, we would be zoning to an R4 for a subdivision. We'd be doing mostly single family homes with several duplex lots.
Some questions I have. So I can see in our code that we have some restrictions on R1 and R2 residential zoning, where the minimum lot width is 80 feet. And I see on your plat map there you have some lots that are 55 width. And so the question is, do we have any restrictions on R4 zoning in our code? We have R1 and R2 restrictions.
No, R4 allows the developer to apply for variances for those types of things. He can apply for setback variations. He can apply for lot size variations, that type of thing.
That's why they're asking to go to R4.
Sure. They can do whatever they want.
Well, it has to be approved by planning and zoning.
Still, it's a little bit different process. Planning and zoning has a public hearing on it for the variances that they're requesting, and from there it goes to the Board of Adjustments. Board of Adjustments makes the final decision on those variances, just like any variance that Board of Adjustment does. Then from there, they go into the regular platting process through a preliminary and final plat.
And that plat that you have in front of you, that's basically a residence development plan that we'll be submitting before the Board of Adjustments and you get this in.
Yes, great.
One was, you mentioned duplexes and quadplexes.
Single family homes, and then I think right now we're showing 10 duplex lots, but the rest are single family home lots right now.
And then the second thing was mention of a fence between the cemetery and the property.
Yes, we're going to fence both sides of the trail going from the back of the property to tie into the Ruby Jack Trail now. Is that Ruby Jack? Yeah, it'll be fenced on both sides.
What kind of fence?
Rainier Shoals has asked us to do barbed wire on his side, so we're going to do barbed wire on both. We haven't really discussed why, I know it's in the contract that we do a 6-string barbed wire.
So it's just along the trail, not the.
But he has cattle on his property where the trail's going down. So we definitely want to keep his cattle off the trail to protect people. And then we're going to leave the fence row in and everything on the cemetery side.
That's what I was going to ask, because it said something about need the fence along the west boundary of the property. Says that you guys have put it in, but if I looked at the map right, the west side is keeping people out of the cemetery, not the trail. So what kind of fence is going to go along by the cemetery?
Yeah, the west side keeps the people out of the cattle.
Not the cattle.
Yeah, the east side.
East side cemetery.
Okay, I'm backwards.
I would like to make a quick correction. The plat that we submitted actually has 16 duplex lots and the rest single family. When we did that kind of as a buffer, that offer, like where we poured throughout Briar Brook.
Ladonna?
And to be clear, all we're doing right now is approving the rezoning. We're not doing any kind of preliminary plat or any kind of variance or anything like that. All we're doing is rezoning to R4. They'll still have to meet all the requirements for P and Z.
Right, we're going
Board of
from
Adjustments.
undeveloped to R4.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
So we can revisit fencing?
I guess you can.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, it's, you know, this is just rezoning.
Rezoning.
Yeah, the plat has not been approved or anything like that, so, yeah.
And if they agree to do the fencing, that's pretty much going to be between them and the other property owners, right?
I would assume so.
You know, the other property owners is the cemetery.
Yeah.
Anything else, anybody else would like to ask them a question? Would anyone else like to, thank you very much. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of the rezoning on this public hearing? Then, okay, then how about, anyone like to speak against the rezoning from undeveloped to R4 in this public hearing? Anyone else like to speak? Very well, then I will close this public hearing. And we will now move on to P and Z case 2109, rezoning of 800 East Canal, Harry S. Truman Community Development. This is a public hearing to go from zoning from R1 to C2.
Planning and zoning also met on this one, and they are recommending approval.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor, since I will open this public hearing, and to speak in favor of changing this rezoning? Yes.
Hello, I'm from Harry S. Truman, and just wanted to see if you guys had any questions.
Anybody have any questions? I guess not. Thank you. Okay, now, so anyone like to speak against rezoning this from R1 to C2, this public hearing? Very well, then I will close down this public hearing. Next is a discussion with BIA board members. I know we asked the BYA to get here today. I appreciate you guys showing up. After I received a couple phone calls and got an email that the BYA sent out about not having access to the gym and stuff like that, or just playing pickleball for stuff. I want to have a good relationship between BYA and the city. I don't want hard feelings with anybody. So I was kind of upset about the email, actually, because I don't know that I've seen a lot of correspondence. We have a lot of correspondence. We had text messages between Steve and I guess Mandy, and I didn't see pickleball mentioned in any of the correspondence in there. But, you know, and I don't play pickleball, so don't blame me. I tried a couple times, but. So would BYA like to say anything?
I guess I would just.
Could you introduce yourself, so who you are, please?
Borat, I'm the vice president on the board for the Bulldog Youth Athletic Association. And this is Travis Brown. He's our treasurer. And so basically, I'd just like to start off by saying that I think that email was very premature, that it shouldn't have been sent before we exhausted all of our lines of communication that we've had in the past. So I'd just like to apologize for that. That wasn't necessarily what the board collectively was trying to accomplish. We are very thankful that I just got done. It's probably why I'm sweating a little bit. It's not because I'm so nervous. I just got about 45 minutes around up and down the court and on the basketball court out there in Indiana. So we're very, very thankful to use the gym. The main reason that got sent out in the first place was just because we're looking at all of our options. Our league is actually growing, which is an awesome thing. And so I don't know how aware you guys are as far as the adjustable rims available to us within the district of Carl Junction and you guys. So within the school, we have six adjustable goals, which we're already working with, trying to take all the right paths and not just send crazy emails out. But we're working with the school and they're working with us to go ahead and add more goals to it. But 6 is all that we had in the entire school district. And then you guys have 6 in this gym. So for that age group, what was happening is we had 5 and 6-year-olds and some 7-year-olds out at practice, starting at 8 o'clock at night and getting done at 9. Which my 10-year-old still goes to bed at 8. That might be a little early for some 10-year-olds, but that's just the bedtime at my house. We try to get them to bed as early as we can so they get a good night's rest. So we just we were looking to get the gym space back. We've got a lot of new board members on our end, so I don't know when the transition went from having the gym here most basketball seasons or all basketball seasons that I could remember to not having it. So that's just something that we'd love to definitely work with you guys and figure out to make sure that we're taking the right channels. I know I've dealt with Steve a lot in the past, so I don't have any problem still dealing.
Yeah, I mean, we want to work with you.
Yeah, again, I think we jumped out of some channels that we should have taken there, and that definitely wasn't the intention of the board.
Well, and if you guys are going to be on there in the future, the earlier you can tell us when you're going to need the gym, the better off you are.
Gotcha.
You know, because you tell us in September or August or something like that, you'd like to have some time scheduled in there. We can make arrangements to do stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, that's the whole key. It's the all of a sudden, hello, we need the gym, we need it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And long story, but it's available tomorrow. It's not available tomorrow. You can understand the problems we get into there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I just want to make sure that, I'm not mad at you guys. I mean, I got a grandson playing in BYA and
He's on my team.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, I need to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
I will say I've known Zach since he was playing youth, but I appreciate what you're saying. Like Mark said, when you wait till like November, it's one of those, like Coach always said, if you show up on time, you're 15 minutes late.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first correspondence we saw was like November 3rd, which, we're lucky we could get even weekends at that point. But is there any way that you could put out an email or a social media message or something to retract the fact that the city's not pushing you out, pickleball's not pushing you
Yeah, I
out?
don't think that'd be a problem at all.
If you could do that, because it's amazing the amount of, anything negative is going to go 400% faster than anything positive. So if you could do that, that would be great.
No, and again, not trying to make excuses, but the person who ran basketball last year for our association is no longer on the board this year. So I'm not sure that we totally knew who was going to be in charge of basketball until about the time that you might have been contacted. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. If you're saying November 3rd, then we should have definitely been able to contact you before then. But it's a brand new year for some people that haven't done this, but we're trying to pick up where it's keep it running. Because like I said, we've got more involvement now. We've got more kids in that league than we've had in years past, which is pretty exciting.
It's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're all on good terms. Because we appreciate all you do with the kids around the area.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. We use your facilities, and Franklin's not the BYAs. We use that every year for baseball. And
we wish it was someplace else.
Yeah.
Can you do some bake sales or something?
Yeah. I don't know.
Anything else for BYA? Anybody have any other comments? Thank you for showing up. We really appreciate that. Really. Thank you very much. All right, next we're going to move on to approval of bid for renewal of Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Mr. Lawbridge, would you like to talk about that?
Renewal on health insurance came in. We're looking at a 4.7% increase this year. which anytime we can keep health insurance out of the double-digit increases, we're pretty happy about
It's
it.
lower than inflation.
It is lower than inflation right now, which is really good. We did go out and we did check with Myrma on Myrma Health also. They gave us some options on the plans they have available. None of those really piqued our interest enough to warrant moving to a whole different system than what the Blue Cross and Blue Shield was offering us. So we're asking for approval of the next renewal.
Any comments on the plan?
How much is that gonna take us up, Steve? Roughly.
1,500?
Yeah, about $1,500 a month.
Anybody have anything else? Well,
I move we approve the recommendation of the city administrator to
Second.
renew.
did that, Bob? No, Gary? Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Schofield to approve the city administrator's recommended for renewal of our Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The renewal is approved. Thank you all. Next is approval of a bid for the archaeological survey for the whatever LWCF stands for, which is what we applied for to put a pavilion over in Lakeside Park and some playground equipment. And you want to speak to that, Steve or Crystal?
Yes, sir. That's Land Water Conservation Fund.
Oh, yeah.
One of the requirements that we got, and I told you guys about at the last meeting, was that National Park Service wanted us to do a archaeological survey of the site, and that was at the request of the Osage Indian tribe. So we went out and we found 2 entities with registered archaeologists to do that. One was at Missouri State and the other one was an independent. And the independent one actually came back cheaper at $3,000 and could get on to the project a lot quicker than Missouri State could do it. So we are recommending that we go with Principal Investigator, Senior Archaeologist, Stone Point Services.
Any questions about this or comments about it? We talked about it last meeting.
When will he be able to start, did he say?
Within 3 weeks.
So
Weather
we're not
permitting.
free- Yeah.
Weather permitting. You should have done it today.
Should have. When I had a postal picker.
75 degrees.
I move that we approve the recommendation to have the archaeological study done for $3,000.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer to approve the bid by, I guess, Stone Point Services, is that what it is? Of $3,000 to do the archaeological survey for our LWCF grant. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, then absent. The bid is approved for the archaeological survey. Next on the agenda is approval of bid to replace the roof on the wastewater treatment plant.
We had some leaks the last time it rained down there at the treatment plant. They found pretty good damage that had not shown itself to the roof. We got 2 bids in, one from Bridgewater Roofing for $6,294 and one from Victor Torres Roofing for $8,000. So we are recommending Bridgewater Roofing for $6,294.
Any comments, questions? Yes, Ladonna?
We will get a portion of that back also, did you say from Myrna?
Yeah, we'll turn it into Myrma.
It will just be less than deductible.
Kelly's gone.
They'll be getting some of that money back.
Okay. Yeah, so we will. Okay, then I move we go forward with Bridgewater Roofing to repair the public works room.
Second.
Motion Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer to approve the bid by Bridgewater Roofing to replace the roof on the wastewater treatment plant. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. That bid is also approved. Me too. Next is a resolution authorizing go-to-market for bond refinancing. Who wants to talk about this?
We put this on
Let
first.
Mary Beth.
Oh,
Mary Beth's gonna talk about it?
Was this not one that was scratched? No, that was 13A, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't, the same thing,
Yeah,
but it
'cause I
wasn't an
thought we were
ordinance.
doing the-
That's why we're doing it,
Okay.
yeah, it's the 5% one.
Okay.
Leave it up
Okay,
to
so
Mary
we
Beth.
contacted, Todd Godfrey of Piper Sandler. He had been in contact with us a few months ago about refinancing our current bond on the community center. And even though it pays out in 2028, he said this would be a prime opportunity. This would be the last time we'd be able to refinance it. And just going to say this, he estimated about $135,000 after all the fees have been taken out of interest on the bond until it pays out. So even though it's not a lot, it's still $135,000 savings that we're looking at, even after all the fees are taken out. So what this does is allow him to go to market and for the bonds, and the refinancing won't actually happen until March. But this allows him to get all the paperwork going, the contract with them to do all the paperwork to get all the refinancing put together.
And then we'd have to have an ordinance to approve the contract, right?
Probably, but I again will rely on bond counsel to tell us what to do.
Yeah, if I remember right,
I know, but
Gilmore and Bell will have paperwork for us also.
and when I looked to see how we did it the last time, because this is the second time we refinanced this bond, it was just a resolution. So I felt more comfortable after knowing what we did the last time, so.
Right. I wouldn't want to try to put into an ordinance form the complicated proposal put by
No kidding.
I'm not suggesting I understand fully what they're going to do. As a matter of fact, I don't understand fully what they're going to do. But yeah, if the resolution is what we used last time, that also is better, even better reason to go forward with it. It worked last time.
Yeah, it apparently worked last time, so, but anyway, once that person passed, we'll get all this paperwork back, and then, he'll go get all the paperwork started on the refinancing. So it's a savings, and it's kind of exciting to see that kind of savings we see.
Is it still gonna pay off in 2028?
Yes, pays off same time.
It will pay off the same time.
Yeah, it'll still pay off, the payments will just be smaller.
Are these the ones that used to be Piper Jaffrey or whatever it was? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the same one we've used before, just.
Yes, it is the same person, they just, actually the same person, it's the same company, they just changed their name, so.
I have a question.
Yes,
So the savings you're talking about, is that a guesstimate on their part, or that is an actual, this is what it will be?
It's a guesstimate, but it's pretty close, they're pretty good at this kind of thing. And the interest rates are about as low as they're gonna get right now, is what he's estimating, so that's why they're going out for it.
They're gonna have to make an adjustment.
anything else?
No questions.
Yes, Mike?
We've been trying to pay off some of our debt early. And so I don't know if we were able to do that. If we were able to pay this off early, then the 135,000 savings, and this is if we carried it out the full term, that those are potential. But if we were able to pay it off early, I don't know if that was something that we had planned to do or.
This one's a little different, because this one is based upon our tax levy, and the state regulates what we consider tax levy at. They will only let us have so much in reserves on the bond payments. So it would be more difficult. All of our other ones were SRF ones and lease purchase options that we paid off early. But with this being a GO bond, it is a little different. It'd be nice, but I don't know if that's gonna be possible.
Okay. That's all I have. Anything else?
So we just
So-
need a motion for a resolution. I move we pass a resolution for go-to-market for bond refinancing.
Who's that? You. Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn, to authorize a resolution on go-to-market bond refinancing. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. The resolution is authorized. Next are ordinances. Ordinance 13B, rezoning of 54.44 acres south of Abbey Road from undeveloped to R4.
I move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Donna Allen, second by Roger Spencer to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending the zoning district map adopted by the Board of Alderman of the City of Crawford, Missouri by ordinance number 99-10 on the 18th day of May 1999, as amended to rezone 54.44 acres south of Ivy Road, Carl Junction, Jasper County, Missouri, owned by Ray and Alana Schultz, as more fully described in the body of this ordinance from undeveloped to R4.
Discussion. As you know, this is P&Z case 2108 we just discussed earlier. Yes, Mike?
So I already mentioned this, I think, in the P&Z case, but just to reiterate, I guess, that R4 zoning is typical when we're talking about a subdivision like this. Right? And so, remember, if I have concerns with the plat, then the time to bring those up would be when they submit the plat for approval. But I just have concerns that by doing the R4, we're able to bypass some of the restrictions that we have in our code for R1 and R2, but I guess we can bring up.
That's why we have an R4.
Right.
Yeah. That's the reason for it.
Sure, I understand that.
It's like a planned community. Any further discussion?
I move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending the zoning district map adopted by the Board of Alderman of the City of Carl Junction, Missouri by ordinance number 99-10 on the 18th day of May 1999, as amended to rezone 54.44 acres south of Ivy Road, Carl Junction, Jasper County, Missouri, owned by Reiner and Alana Schultz, as more fully described in the body of this ordinance from undeveloped to R4.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final pass.
Okay. Motion by Don Allen, second by Gary Stubblefield to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. Six in the affirmative with 1 against. The ordinance passes.
And the ordinance 21-40.
Thank you. Next is an ordinance rezoning 800 East Pinell from R1 to C2.
Move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance amending the zoning district map adopted by the Board of Alderman of the City of Carl Junction, Missouri by ordinance number 99-10 on the 18th day of May 1999, as amended to rezone 800 East Pinell, Carl Junction, Jasper County, Missouri, owned by Harry S. Truman Community Development, as more fully described in the body of this ordinance from R1 to C2.
Discussion. This was also discussed in the public hearings. It was case 2109. Any discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
And ordinance amending the zoning district map adopted by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Carl Junction, Missouri by ordinance number 99-10 on the 18th day of May 1999, as amended to rezone 800 East Pinell, Carl Junction, Jasper County, Missouri, owned by Harry S. Truman Community Development, as more fully described in the body of this ordinance from R1 to C2.
Any further discussion?
I just have one question. How come this was never rezoned in the past? Didn't it have to be rezoned for them? I mean, City Hall is exempt, right?
Yeah.
City, yeah,
I mean, they were exempt,
so you have.
right, but Harry S.
Harry S. Truman Community, full disclosure, I am chairman of their board. So,
That explains it.
That tells us a whole bunch.
so what it is
Two more negative.
they are a quasi-governmental entity. They do housing with Missouri Housing Development Corporation, tax credits and that type of thing for senior and low income stuff. So there is, in R1, public use facilities is an acceptable use within R1. At that time, when they bought that from us and moved in, I was not chairman of their board. It was thought that it would not be reneeded since it was just office space. Now they are selling it, and the only people that have been interested in it have been for commercial use.
Right, which makes sense.
Especially since it's right across the street from Dollar General now. So it makes more sense that it be commercial C2, and it actually fits into our comprehensive plan as C2 also.
That's all. Just-
All right, any further discussion?
Maybe we put this ordinance on
Yeah,
final.
Yep,
I was just gonna add, my perception has been that things slipped through the cracks. This one certainly did. I mean, it's always been intended for what I think it's been used for, and we just found it
Yeah.
wasn't quite zoned correctly. It's just a cleanup matter.
No, you're on.
Oh, I moved, we put this,
Sorry.
we put this ordinance on final passage.
Second. Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Glenn, to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. Please vote. 7 in the affirmative and none absent. Please vote electronically. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absence. The ordinance passes. That is ordinance number.
41-41.
Thank you. Okay, now we got all the preliminary stuff done. Now we get into the real stuff, the administration report.
That's real stuff.
Let's see, all he's got on here in black is some survey we gotta do. Already talked about that.
See, it did not, we talked about the Fur Road stuff at the last meeting, didn't we?
Briefly.
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
And I didn't put it in there anything. We got, a letter of agreement in from Rosa and the cost for doing that, next phase in study work is, I guess what you want to call it. $22,585.
And where will this come out? Of our budget chairman?
Well, it's what, would it be streets or would it just be general fund? For professional services?
I think streets is probably more appropriate. I would think, I don't know. Capital improvement, oh, yeah, obviously.
We have funding and capital improvements? Okay.
Well, and in keeping with full disclosure, my grandson was injured in a wreck at Lone Elm Fur Friday night. And somebody ran the four-way stop at like 50 miles an hour and nailed his.
My God.
I mean, luckily he was just kind of like bounced his head off the side window and whipped his neck, but his mom got whiplash. And likely he just knocked the pickup kind of across the road, totaled it, but.
They're
So
okay.
I got a call from the accident scene with my grandson sitting in a warm car, shaking and saying, "You have got to do something about this intersection." And I'm like, "Well, come to city council, buddy." So, but,
Question.
Yeah, Bob.
How much did you say that was?
$22,585.
and then we'll take it all the way.
That will look at
To Joplin Street?
from 171 all the way to Joplin Street.
Like I say, I don't know that Joplin and we are going to be pressed on that yet, but it would be nice to have that can on all of them.
So with this, are you asking for something?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, I'll put the agreement,
Okay.
I'll put the
That's what I
agreement
thought,
in,
yeah.
next meeting.
You're just letting us know what's going on.
Because it will help. I think it will not only help us, we're looking into this traffic issue, but I think we could use this also for economic development if we've got good traffic counts and studies along there.
True.
Because of the development along there, this gives us a little bit of control over entrances, exits, and control over future development and everything. Because there is a possibility that we can figure out a way to have the developers partake in some of the costs of making those improvements. And this will help us in our quest for that.
Will Jasper County offset any of this?
Of the study,
Of the study?
possibility, well, it'd be Joplin Special Road District.
And Airport Drive now?
No, probably not Airport Drive. I could ask them for some.
I would ask him anyway, since you're going from 171 to
Yeah.
to Lone Elm.
Yeah.
Ask if they can't chip in something.
Even a small percentage.
20,000.
Airport Drive are the only ones that participated in our corridor study.
Yes,
that we did.
I know.
We never got anything out of Joplin Area
Joplin.
Transportation Study Organization.
Yeah, I need to ask him anyway, especially the Special Road District too.
Yep.
I mean, we had them all here at that meeting, so that was a good deal. Anything else on this for the city administrator? I see there's the other deal on time clocks. Nothing new on that. Just gonna, department heads haven't said anything yet.
Did we get the one in for Jay?
Yeah, he hasn't.
We're working on that.
Okay. Anything else from the city administrator? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I trust Jay's judgment on what he wants.
Yep. Anything else from the city administrator at all? All right. Moving right along, we'll go into department reports then. Well, Jay in here, so we'll do his first. Public Works. Don had a question on this earlier about,
Mike had a question
on
about
the
the
bridge.
pedestrian bridge.
Oh, it's Mike, I'm sorry. Do you know anything about that, Steve?
What's that?
The bridge, the walking trail? Is that the one over Center Creek?
No, that is, yes, that's one over Center Creek, walking trail vandalized. They had cut the locks off and thrown the post down in the water on one side, and on the other side, they had wobbled it out, tried to take that whole post out. So the guys were out there re-cementing them in.
Well, they did that on the other side of the street too.
Yep, they've hit every blocking bollard post that we have in town.
Yes,
Seems
I-
like they tried to vandalize them this year.
Yeah. Okay.
All of it out in Briar Brook.
Well, now, wait a minute.
Must be golf
The
cart.
other side of
The other
Center
side of
Creek.
Center Creek.
is not in Briarwood.
Yeah, but your people's probably doing it.
Well, that goes without saying.
Are they trying
It
to get golf
has,
carts?
and Jay and I were talking about it, it just seems, and the CID knows it too, they've had some problems out there. This seems to have been a more than normal destructive cycle for summer and fall.
I know that the CID has found out that it's part of this TikTok thing, where
The
they're
TikTok
filming
challenge,
how they destroy things and they post it on TikTok.
which provides evidence once you
Yeah, it's just crazy.
identify.
We had the problem with the green, the golf cart, the
Yep.
girl on the green golf cart, and that's what it was.
When my trash cans at the soccer field was thrown in the pond.
Yeah,
Did
there
you check
go.
TikTok?
I did not. So I don't have to.
There you go.
They had to carry that a long
I
way.
did. I couldn't believe it.
Well, it's not very far when you're using a golf cart.
That's what I figured.
Well, that's true.
When you're a 12-year-old on a
Plus
golf cart.
the pedestrians have wheels on.
Um,
Somebody just needs to hold them and,
It's like car hooding on the snow when you were in the country. You just hang under this.
Well, any other comments on Public Works?
Jay apologized for not being here. His brother had surgery, so he was down at Freeman.
Hope everything's okay.
Yes, it did go very well.
Next, PD. We got PD here. Any comments from Mark?
How are you doing on top of the shop of the cop?
As
Good
of
goal.
yesterday, we're actually doing pretty well. Also, the school who normally gives us all the names of the kids, usually the initial one comes in at over 300 kids, and then we whittle it down due to some problems with children and any criminal charges that could have been pressed against them, they don't get to go. This time, our list has come in barely 200 kids. And so if we start whittling down from there, we're going to be well under what we normally do. And combine that with the donations we've got so far, then we're sitting really good.
You started with a 240 expectation?
Well, typically we shoot for taking 220 kids.
Okay.
And the list came in under that to begin with. So now we're still checking with Salvation Army, because usually Asbel sponsors about 20 kids from Salvation Army, so that may pick out this stuff a little bit. And then we may do some checking with families that have kids that qualify. A lot of times we don't include their siblings who are not in school age, kindergarten or above. We may look into doing something different to add a few more to that, to get everybody involved.
Okay. So you feel good?
Do what?
You feel good?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Anything else for the chief? Building inspector we did last meeting, so we'll do it next meeting again. So we'll move right along to committee reports. Budget and finance, LaDonna.
We had a meeting last week and got the budget report and got really good news on the audit report. I'm sorry, got really good news on our audit. The only things that they had to do were some manual entries, which were down because the software that we've got a few more, and I think we're gonna look and see if we can do something to kind of even lower it more, but everything's going good. So credit the city clerk and the deputy clerk, because it said we did the best, as far as audits go, we got the best ratings that we could have got. So.
Very good.
Very good.
Anything else for budget? Code and nuisance, Rick.
Nothing, sir.
Human resources, Roger.
Yeah, it's that time of the year again.
Oh.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
Evan.
But it's evaluation time.
All right.
If they can get it put together.
I keep looking at you, Mary Beth. I think we gotta
We
get
can
the
have them
evaluation.
in, have them out
We
and
gotta
back
get the
in by
evaluation
next
forms distributed.
council meeting to give to Mr. Tyler.
Okay, anything else for human resources?
That's it.
Good, we're rolling right along then to public facilities. Bob?
Nothing at this time.
Senior citizens, I will defer to Richard from Gary.
He's just great news.
Good news. I'm not even We have good news. Last week, when last time we were here, LaDonna made a suggestion, just as we were visiting, for us to set up an open enrollment education seminar for the community, and to do it at a time that would be available. And so we have done that. And so on Friday at 1:00, we have staff from the area agency on aging that is going to be here to answer any questions. And it's not an insurance salesman or an agent or anything like that. It's pure education to help people through that. It can be confusing. So I appreciate LaDonna's suggestion, and I'm glad that we could do something to do that, to support that.
This is the Medicare Advantage or supplemental thing.
Yes.
So
The open enrollment.
Joe Namath's not gonna be?
Pardon?
Joe Namath's not gonna be?
No, No, he's looking pretty old, isn't he?
He sure is.
And then the other good news, we had been working with Steve in regard to upgrading the televisions in the center there to get some smart TVs and to kind of hook them together. It would help the center in regard to presentations and everything that's going on in there at different times. It'll help the city because it enhances the room for when they rent that out for other things as well. So Steve said, if you all can raise $600, we'll do this. And so the policy council said, let's give it a try. And we did last Friday, maybe last Friday? Was it last Friday or Friday before that? One of the Fridays recently. We went to the folks and we said, we have a $300 balance already. And we're trying to raise $600. And so we're looking for you to raise $300 to just go around the room and everybody throw in $10. Well, Gary was the first person. Gary happened to be there that day.
It was my birthday, my first day
It was
as a
his birthday.
senior.
Yes. And you have to go on the cheat sheet, right, that day rather than the other.
It was a good meal.
It was a good deal. It is. But anyway, and Gary just jumped up and said, well, I will pledge a certain amount, and my goodness, everybody around the room stood up and we raised nearly all of the money within about 3 minutes. And and Steve, within the next week, you'll get a check from us to, you have to tell us how you want that made out. So.
Not Steve.
Not Steve, right. What's the right wording on there for that?
City of Carl Junction.
City of Carl Junction.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. So within a week, we'll have that money here to begin actual work on that at some point soon. Those are good things. The attendance at the center has been in the high 30s, which is good. And so we still have not recovered some folks that were here before, but we're getting lots of new folks, and that's very good.
May I add that we went across the finish line today on fundraising thanks to Richard Sacadeli
Yes.
and my mom.
Yes.
So
Good.
Yes.
it's gonna be great to see that.
Yeah, no, Gary is good at asking for money, and so
It's
if
easy
we
to
didn't
say
get it there,
yes.
I'm afraid he's going to be asking you guys tonight. That's okay. Thank you, Gary.
Anything else for Richard?
Good.
LaDonna?
Did we get that on Facebook? For some reason, the city's Facebook or nothing pops up unless it's the police. Did we put anything out about that workshop?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. For some reason, doesn't pop up on my feed, and I forget to go and look at it.
You're not senior enough yet.
Thank you.
We
God
sent,
bless you.
we sent it to
She
the
couldn't see it
chamber
anyway.
and to the city to put that out on Facebook as well.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Do you want to add anything, Gary?
No, sir. I
Thank
can't comment.
goodness. Let's see. I think that's all the committees. Old business, or should I say unfinished business? Jim?
No, sir.
Mike?
No, sir.
LaDonna?
No,
I have none. Roger?
Nothing.
Rick?
No, sir.
Gary?
No, sir.
Bob? Mr. Talley? Lena? Mary Beth? Crystal? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go fast by you.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
You're good. That's it.
because sometimes you always have something.
Sometimes.
Steve?
No, sir.
Mark? New business, Bob?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Here. Rick?
No, sir. No.
Nah. LaDonna?
Nothing.
Nothing, sir.
Jim?
No, sir.
Mr. Talley? Lena?
No, sir.
Mary Beth? You're on.
Oh, thank you.
Knew that was coming.
So, in the course of Mark trying to clean up the police department, I've inherited like 5 boxes of records. These are records that are applications of people who applied for positions going back to early 2000s. And so I'd like to destroy those, and we made a list of just names and dates of applications. I've got like 5 pages of names here. And so I just would like the council's permission to destroy these records and keep this list on file, just there's no personal information, just names and dates, that's it. And, they've never hired, they just applied for the job.
Did you check the destruction of record schedule with the state,
Yeah.
Secretary of State?
They're like, I think you only have to be like 7 years.
Sounds like those are well beyond that.
No, but, I hesitated to destroy them without having a record while we were destroying, but I would like to understand permission to destroy.
So you'd like a motion for the council to vote to give you permission to destroy those records?
So be it.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by Don Allen, to give the city clerk permission to destroy records that are past the records retention date by state statute. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand, setting the affirmative with no absent. You have permission to destroy those records. Anything else?
One absent.
What?
One absent.
One absent. Let's say, see, okay. One absent.
This thing on the whole night.
They correct that.
I don't know.
Crystal,
No, sir.
Steve,
I guess I'm gonna go out and see if I can find a rather large shredder.
That's a lot of.
Don't you eat it stuff.
well, we know who can't operate it.
That's right. We
Hey,
have operator restrictions.
I can't help it. Those two that I broke.
A wood chipper
Are
would
not
work
very
good.
good.
Just have a bonfire inside.
You get Jay to bring your shredder up for the leaves.
Yeah. Any other new business, Steve?
No, sir.
Mark?
No.
Is there any other business for the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you for attending, Mr. Moss. Good to see you again.
So for sure, they're not gonna call me for that job.